Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. We're using a system that is concentrating power and making things worse. Bitcoin can help you get out of that. Not many people know I was right. Bitcoin is the only free market where prices fall to the minimum cost of production. If you use this as a way to measure the world, you can see that things are getting better and prices are going down. If you're measuring the world with the wrong model, a fiat tool is likely the wrong thing to do. He said that centralization could return the economy to the same pattern of control and manipulation that we see now. Booth said that constant money printing and centralized control in the current financial system cause divide and inequality. He also said that these practices make the market unstable and easy to manipulate. Booth stressed how important it was to keep Bitcoin's decentralized nature so that it wouldn't fail like traditional financial systems and so that the market wouldn't keep going up and down. It's getting worse and worse for the world as a whole because of making money and distorting it. And things should be getting better and better for everyone else. Everything is getting worse because the system is putting more power in the hands of a few people. Bitcoin can help you get out of that. Though not many people know, I believe that's because they don't fully understand what that and the attack vectors look like. They think it's difficult when it's really quite easy. Deflation is what a free market does by itself. That means we've never lived in a free market. Things that keep us in line have been getting worse over time. We start a war. When we vote for leaders who split us, we go to war over who controls us. Over and over again, it looks like that after a war ends, when the winner restarts the currency and says, "We promise we won't do it again." It starts all over again, and it does that again and again. So as people, we're in that trap, and we have been for 5,000 years because we trade with each other to get value. A system, on the other hand, could give you a lot of power if you could slowly take some of that value from other people. After a break, we learned something about Bitcoin that will change everything. That means that all of our old ideas about what it looks like, or what Bitcoin looks like, don't matter as long as Bitcoin stays safe and decentralized. What's new since you wrote the book or since I wrote the book? The events of the past week have shown that both you and I were right. You can also check to see if the model you're using to measure the world is correct. It's a free market when prices drop to the point where they meet the marginal cost of production. Prices are going down and life is getting better. A fiat tool is probably the wrong way to measure the world if you're using the wrong model. It hurts your brain to think about this because it's about things you can't see. And as long as Bitcoin stays safe and decentralized, that's where society is going to a place that is almost unthinkable. It's so beautiful and gives me hope for people, but it's hard to imagine from the way things are now. And that's part of the problem with Bitcoin right now. A lot of people are stuck in the way things are now. They're mixing up. They are making Bitcoin follow the same rules that have always been in place because they think that's how it should work. By doing that, they're actually contributing to the centralization of Bitcoin since it's such a different. Let's start with the basics, if you will. These tools can't work with each other. If you accept deflation, all prices will fall in relation to money. If you don't, prices will rise. The one that doesn't need to centralize or else it will fail. Nothing else we're talking about would matter if Bitcoin stayed decentralized and safe. Prices will always go down compared to it. In other words, I say because throughout history, people have always said if you could control money, you would. Avoid the word might. If you could make something, you would control it because you could take a little bit off of everyone's productivity that they wouldn't notice and save it. We know that both of those are true. We know that if it stays decentralized and safe, the whole planet will move to the system we were just talking about, where everyone works together to make things better for everyone else. We also know that there has never been a safe and decentralized currency. Everyone should know that Bitcoin will be an important part of the US dollar. I would move on and try to persuade people that the US dollar and Bitcoin are the same thing. I would print money through Tether to help the US Treasury get more money and get people all over the world to pay in the second layer US dollar and other currencies. I would also bet on the difference in price between Bitcoin and that. The ability to get more people to do it would turn into a huge money-making machine. As more people use this new layer on top of Bitcoin, it would naturally become more centralized, which it has to do since this market is more centralized than the free market, which leads to lower prices. For what reason do you want to keep people on Tether or move them to Bitcoin? If those aren't enough to get you to buy another safe coin or LT2, think about how much the US dollar or business is worth. What makes you want to keep them in US dollars or move them to Bitcoin? And I think that because those benefits are paid for by the same thing we're talking about, there is more centralization and it happens faster. That's where the normal market takes you. Because of the same thing, no one will know. As we talked about at the start, no one will know how many people who are really in Bitcoin today think that prices will keep going down forever. 99.9% of the earth. They will be fooled if the prices of things go up. For those of us in the West, it would first seem like a way to store value. For those of you in other parts of the world who don't have bank accounts, it might seem like a way to create a cycle economy. That's why you see both. If someone doesn't have a bank account, they can use this to get to the store of value. If they do have a bank account, they can use this to get to the store of value because their money isn't losing value as quickly. I think those are just two different ways to look at this. There are natural reasons not to use Bitcoin as a payment method, as well as business reasons to keep your Bitcoin and not spend it, and stablecoins make money from these transactions. A force that builds up. Why is that? The normal market falls prices while this other market does not. They don't go together. Those two systems can't work together. In other words, I think we're talking about how these two systems will keep going down this path. As you say, these centralized ones will break, and customers will then look for Bitcoin. That sounds like what you mean. It is important that these centralized ones don't break, or the whole system will not work. They'll get help from the government, and they'll become even more centralized. And the core asset is at greater risk because people will think it is safe through that. That's what needs to happen just structurally. To keep things safe, you need layer 2 and layer 3 options. And that lets you spend Bitcoin